We listen, but we don't judge.
We listen, but
But
we
we
don't
don't
judge.
My God, adulting. If someone would have told me this is what adulting is, I wouldn't want to become an adult. And I was heartbroken. And then I didn't have things to do. Then I was like, let me now get into running.
This heartbreak
Everyone-
happens at
everyone
what
starts
point?
running that
There's
point.
always that point.
Yes.
If I was on that fit, I'd have
Yes.
food.
What have been the biggest lessons about working in high pressure environment?
Always watch your back. Always.
I didn't expect that as the first thing.
Today you'll be laughing and drinking with them, but tomorrow they're going to fuck you up. If you're in marketing, what one needs to do is always be ready. Anything can happen. You are hiring me as a marketing manager, and that's something that I always put as a disclaimer. I'm not a salesperson.
Today we are going to put rest to this pronunciation as well. Is it Huawei? Huawei?
Huawei.
Now it's supposed to be Huawei.
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 It's
Umesikia?
supposed to be silent, so it's Huawei.
Today is
But
a
to
lesson.
watch it now, because we are Kenyans, it's Huawei.
Hi everyone and welcome back to Successful Fuck Ups, the show where we redefine success one fuck up at a time. The whole idea here is not to overglorify the path to getting to where you need to be and who you are through just the highlights. Sometimes even the low moments define and make us who we are. And today we are privileged to have a new guest, Nakhulo. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Is that the best way? How do I pronounce your name? I don't want to butcher.
Nakhulo Khaimia. K is silent in both, so it's
Nakhulo.
okay.
So ignore the K. It's Nakhulo Khaimia. Ignore the K.
So we
again
just
in
go
Khaimia.
like
So
Nah.
Nakhulo Khaimia.
Nakhulo.
Yes.
Today I'm going to channel it. And of course, we are here with the other usual suspect, Alon. Yours is not complicated.
Mine is also complicated. Just that
The R is silent.
R is silent.
Okay.
Yes.
Even mine has it's Jimmy, but there's a H somewhere. It's silent, but because we are, you guys had bougie parents. Anyway, karibu sana.
Thank you.
Most of the time when people hear the word Samsung marketing manager, they always, one would be lied to believe that it's been a smooth path. But of course, life teaches us that it's not always smooth.
Yeah.
If you were to go back to a moment where everything felt like it was falling apart, where would we land?
Wow. Let me just tell you, the higher you go,
Pressure decreases.
let me tell you, nobody should lie you, as in lie to you. As in, like, you know, the way you grow up and you're like, I want to be like this person. I want to be like a CEO. I want to be, you don't know the things they go through.
Yeah.
And, you know, at some point, you get to a point and you're like, I wish I was just that entry-level intern who just does the paper
just shows up.
pushing. Like,
Perfect it.
show up. What do you want me to do today? Type ABCD. That's okay. I'm done with my day. I go home. I don't know about what happens behind the scenes. So, yeah, so that's something I'll be like, you know what? I wish I could just stay bottom of the career ladder, not whatever I want to do at some point later in life. Yeah.
Okay. And you've worked with some global giants.
Yes.
Samsung. Today we are going to put rest to this pronunciation as well. Is it Huawei? Huawei?
Huawei.
Now, it's supposed to be Huawei.
Huawei.
H is
Mumesikia?
supposed to be silent, so it's Huawei.
Today is
But
a
to
lesson.
watch it to now, because we are Kenyans, it's Huawei. Huawei.
Huawei.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you were, what's a part of working in the corporate world that nobody tells you about?
Corporate world is a little bit interesting, yeah? Because based on how I started my career, I started at agency level, where I worked for a multinational agency, whereby we were handling different clients and all that, yeah? And I think if you start off your career, especially in marketing, comms, PR, and all that from an agency level, it helps you now maneuver when you get into now the corporate world. But if there's one thing that people do not tell you is, as you get into the corporate world, because at agency level, maybe you're handling a bank, an FMCG, you know, all those people that come with different demands, and at the end of the day, they want your attention. But now the moment now you get into corporate world, people will lie to you that it's just one client. You do not, it's not a lot of pressure. Believe you me, it's a different ballgame even getting into the corporate world, because again, you are in as a consultant and there's so many levels, or there's so many divisions that you work with that are kind of like you are now
Internal clients.
Because yes, there's you as marketing, there's the brand team, there's the sales team, there's the retail team, there's the finance, there's HR, legal, all those people. So all those people combined, at the end of the day, they're still your clients, because you need to manage them based on what the key goals and objectives of the company.
So we've been completely, sometimes you are right. I mean, people think that because all of us have been agency people or are agency people, we always assume that, here I was dealing with 10 different industries. If I go into one and focus, it might be easier.
We find it easier.
It's not that easy, but I'll say the pressure, when you compare corporate world and the agency world, the pressure is a little bit different, because at agency, you are working with different clients, different personalities and all that. And then now, also at some point, it's within a period of time. And then now once it's done, you move on to the next. But now the good thing about now being an internal consultant is these are the people you deal on day in, day out, until the day you'll step out of that office. So it's a little bit different. It's a little bit of less pressure. But if I was to advise someone, if you ever want to get into marketing or brand comms or just get into corporate world from straight, as in get into the corporate world in a position of marketing or brand or creative or whatever it is, start with the agency. They will build you. It will be like the kitchen. It will make you become...
The pressure cooker.
Yes, pressure cooker. So that now when you get in there and you're like, easy, these are just things that I've been dealing with, but now you find a way of how to deal with the internals, because there's so much that happens behind the scenes.
Okay. When we look at multinationals, because you've gotten some good experience with them, and when it comes to setting up in Kenya or even just doing operations, even in East Africa, there are some that we see succeed, and they succeed very well, and there are some that we see fail, and they fail also very well. So where do you think the ones that fail very well usually fuck up in when they're getting here?
Having worked with two multinationals, and given that they come from the same, as in it's like they're brothers and sisters, I'll say it's the ones that succeed is they embrace the locals, like they come in with open mind, whereby yes, I'm getting into this space, but there are people who are well aware about this space. So I'll work with them so that I can go around whatever I want to achieve. And then there are those who are just stuck up. Like, yes, we are coming with this narrative and we'll stick with that narrative, And now when you stick with that narrative and then it hits you like, oh my God, this is what people think it is. And then that's when they're like, whatever mentality that we came, and then, especially, as we are third world, so guys will be like, oh, anyway, our ideas are way better than theirs and all that. That's why now they're like, okay, we didn't know this is what we thought it was. And then now it's too little, too late, and that's why now they wrap up and go. And you'll notice majority of these people are guys who will come set up, maybe bring in expatriates, and majority of the people in the office, when you look at the expatriates and the locals, it's a little bit interesting and you're like, okay, what's going on? But now where I am currently, when you look at how the setup is, it's like 90% of us are locals. So we drive the narrative because we understand better the market and how it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are there peculiarities you would say? We always hear Africa is a new frontier, it's the next frontier and everything. Are there certain peculiarities that you have that you would say stand out about the African market or the Kenyan market that most people have a misconception about?
Yes, there is. Because you see, like now, given that I work in a tech space, which is very, very evolving, as in like, when you look at now the current engineers, the ICT guys in our office, these are local people. So it's something like, also as locals, when the foreign companies come to set up in this country, we also want to step up and show them that we can actually do this, You do not need to bring in, what's it called? talent from wherever you've come in to here. So now when you look at that, you can definitely see in terms of the people who are setting up in this country or in this particular market, when they realize that and then they're like, okay, these people are capable of doing it. And it also makes us show, like you see, I want to stand up and show guys, whatever I'm doing as a local, it's not something that you need to bring in someone to come and do it. I'm capable of doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you were to strip away all the logos and all the big names, what have been the biggest lessons about working in high pressure environments?
My God, always watch your back. Always.
I didn't expect that as the first thing.
Always.
Okay.
Always watch your back. Even that person you meet on the corridor laughing with you, even that person who tells you, Nakhulo, where can we go catch a drink next door? And you go laugh with them or even dance and do whatever you want to do. Please, at the end of the day, always know this person is your colleague, this person is your boss, this person is your senior, this person is your junior. Today you'll be laughing and drinking with them, but tomorrow they're going to fuck you up. Okay, we are talking about fucking up, so we can talk about. It's not censored, yeah? So tomorrow they're going to f you up sorry.
No, probably it's what you're answering. Because I wanted to find out, is it a self-interest thing or people are just bad people?
It's self-interest, as in generally, and this is something that I even talk. Okay, surprising enough, I was just talking about this with my friend today morning, and I was like, my God, adulting. If someone would have told me this is what adulting is, I wouldn't want to become an adult. One, you have a lot of things to deal with at a personal level. Two, you have things to deal with from a family point of view. Yeah. And then three...
Especially millennials.
Exactly. And then now three, there's these things that you need to deal with in the office, career-wise. Yeah? So there's so much as in like... until you are like, okay, why would someone be doing this? But it's just being selfish. Yes, you and me will decide we don't want to be selfish, but there are people who are just selfish. They've already strategized, in order for me to move from this point to the next point, someone has to go down. And that's what they'll do. And now, unfortunately, it happens. I've never worked in an organization. I'll say like, if you compare our company and say places like Safaricom or EABL, I think they have a bigger number.
Yeah.
They have, as in like their resources is too much. Yeah. When I compare where I am currently and where I was before, we were so many, but all of us, everyone was operating in silos. So there was no like cross-functional. But now, right now where I am, we have few, but this cross-functional way of working, yeah? So I look at it and I'm like, if whatever is going on currently is with this small number.
If it was
exactly. Big. So how about working in an organization that has over 100 people who there's a lot of things that you have to work together. How is that? And how does that look like?
What does that say about, is it a cultural thing? And when I say culture, I mean, is it a culture at a macro level in the sense that as Kenyans or as Africans, we have the hunger to move and proceed, but because it says a lot.
Yes, I think it's a cultural level. It's a cultural thing. Because when you even look at when you travel like to places like Tanzania or Uganda, even the other day you heard Tanzanians don't want Kenyans to work in Tanzania because they know we are aggressive. We are aggressive. If I want this mug to grow up and become a big mug, I will ensure how it's going to grow up.
But at the expense of someone?
At the expense of someone. But you see people like TZ guys, it's like, okay, I found this mug the way it is, then I will let it go.
Oh, okay, that's what you mean. Okay.
Yes. So it's cultural thing. I think as Kenyans, we're just too aggressive. And then now when you walk into a space where everyone is aggressive, you cannot sit back and just watch. Because you see, at the end of the day, it's going to affect you as well. Yeah. So you also need to be smart about it.
Okay. Do you feel it comes more from a mindset of scarcity, or does it? You know, when you is it scarcity like there's not enough for all of us, so let's try and be hungry, or is it ambition? Is it because I tend to see
think
a lot
it's
of
both.
these things in even when we talk about things like corruption. Sometimes is it at the expense of is it being driven by scarcity or is it being driven by
I think it's both, yeah. And speaking of corruption, I'll say we are the first people to shout on top of our whatever, like, oh, this government is corrupt and stuff like that. And then you're like, you are busy saying that. Where you are
in your small scale.
in your small scale. And I'm sorry even to say this. Unfortunately, even leave alone even work, even families. How many of us in this room, if we're to ask ourselves, there are specific relatives we don't talk to? Why? Yeah, there are people who will be like, hey, Nakhulo has bought a range. How come I do not have a range? I also need, and it's within the
Na
family.
hazijaisha production.
Even siblings. Yeah, you've seen those siblings fights and stuff. It always starts from there. And then now it goes out there and then you get into corporate world. Same mentality.
differently packaged?
Exactly. Then now you get out here now political space. It's same. So when we are busy calling out our leaders and all that, even as
We need to call ourselves
need
out.
also we need to check ourselves. Like you personally, what are you doing about yourself? Yeah.
Okay.
So the scarcity mentality is also part of it, and also ambition. Yeah, because you're like, there are people, if you've ever noticed, they're like, within 2 years, I want to be at this level. So what will make me get to that level? Yeah.
Okay. So we somehow bumped into an article that you put out on LinkedIn in December
Yes.
around failure,
Yes.
which was quite interesting and inspiring to us.
Yes.
And I'm sure there are very many of our viewers who haven't read that article. But just going back to it, and as you're reflecting on 2024,
Yes.
it felt like it was quite a heavy year for you.
Yes.
So when you hit that moment when you felt like it was at the worst, what did you tell yourself?
So okay, just based on what I went through for, I think it was almost 4 months. Yeah. There was so many things that happened. And you know now what usually happens, like in that scenario, you start blaming other people.
Yeah.
Like, yes, but so-and-so did this, but so-and-so did it, and so-and-so did it. But I sat back and asked myself, yes, when so-and-so was doing this, you yourself, what did you do about it? And what happened to make it get to where it was? Because
Taking accountability.
exactly, like you contributed to what exactly happened. Because if you would have seen that earlier, you would have found a way of how to manage it. So I also, inaitwanga kujiita mkutano. I called myself for a meeting. Yes, there are other involved parties, but I did not want to start talking about, oh, so-and-so did that. It was now about myself. Like, what did I do? What is it that I should have done that would have made this not get to where it got me? Yeah. So those are some of the things that I did. And the reason why I even wrote that is I know LinkedIn is always about glamour, or so you have been promoted to what and what. And surprising enough, I was given a promotion later before now this thing blew up. Yeah. What does that mean? They had seen my performance the previous years and they've seen this girl is capable of doing A, B, C, D. And then immediately this thing blows up. So you want to tell me that thing blew up just immediately after I was given, and then I just decided to go downhill, no? Yeah. So those are some of the things. So I sat down, asked myself so many questions. Yes, there are other parties involved, but how much involvement was I in this situation? And what are some of the things that I learned that will help me never ever to get myself in such a situation? Because honestly speaking, in my 19 years, I think this will be like my 20th year of being getting out there professionally. This is something that got me, and I was like, my God, this is not happening. I've had it happening to other people, but I did not see it coming. So if I did not see it coming, what are those things that I didn't check? So I was somehow, I'll confess, I was somehow a little bit careless. And now those are some of the things that now are helping me going forward on how do I make sure that it never happens. Yeah.
And I think in that article, it's the same article where
Yeah, it's
you
the same
called
one.
yourself I know we are talking about this article.
Failure recovery.
Yeah, failure recovery, which is
recoverist.
a term that I like.
Yes.
Because I think one of the things that we fail to do sometimes is exactly what you've said, which is taking account.
Yes, of ourselves.
Is this something that has always been about you, or is it things that you're discovering as you're adulting?
I think those are things I'm discovering as I'm adulting. Because whenever something happens, we are always so fast to say, no, it's so-and-so who did this. No, I did not do this. No, you did not do.
Owning it.
Exactly. So how about we all took a step back and said, okay, yes, so-and-so has done it, but to what point? I'll give an example like this current government, yeah? So when we're busy saying Kasongo, Suji doing all these things, they've done this, but aren't we the people who elected them? Kasongo that we are busy bashing, he had Suji case like 20, was it? In 2014 when they went to The Hague. Yeah. Wasn't that a red flag for us?
Already, yeah.
But what did we do? We brought it, and then now we are busy shouting, oh, he must go, he must. Why? So that's what I'm saying. It's something that I've picked up as an adult. And then again, as I've said, the higher you go, it's not as cool and as glamorous as we feel. And now I tend to resonate with how some of the bosses operate. People in corporate worlds operate. Because they're like, you know what? This is not how things will work my way. Because they've been through all these things that we're doing. So when we see someone like maybe a Safaricom CEO doing things and you're like, hey, that guy is so strict, you did that guy. Because he's learned all these things in his career and he's like, you know what? I'll have to do ABCD. People will call you bad, but you know why you are doing this. Yes, there are people who are just bad. Yeah, but there are people who will do things because, you know what? I've been through this and I don't want to find myself in that. Yeah.
You know, there's something you've said, especially in the corporate world, we tend to overspeak about wins. And, you know, we are announcing our annual returns.
Yes.
We are doing X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
Very few times do we ever talk about the things that we did not win, but we learned from. Is this a culture that you think should change? And if you are, say, speaking to young professionals, what would you tell them about this whole subject of failing?
Yeah, I think it's a culture that we need to change. And speaking from having been an agency person and then now I'm now in-house, whenever a crisis comes up, like say the Shell issue that came up, they all call their PR people and stuff like that, like let's sanitize. But is it true? Yeah? Honestly speaking, is it true that it happened? Yeah. So if it's lies, then it's lies. But if it's true, just find a way of saying yes, as much as this happened, but we are working around that, yeah? And I think that is now where we all lie. Even that's where now the corporate guys, when they reach out to PR agencies to be doing work to sanitize whatever they're doing, it's very unfair. Because all these things you're doing is just lies. So you rather just say, yes, this happened, but however, this is what I'm doing going forward. So if we'll always just be accountable of the mistakes that we do from the word go, from either as an individual, either as a company, either whatever it is, let's just find a way of telling guys the truth. Like, this is the truth. Like right now, if I said, I walked out, or I came and figured this entire place with Mauis and all that, and then left. Then I'm I start looking for someone to say, oh no, it's a lie, I found it. You know, so even you...
Mawe ilitoka kwa mkono ikajirusha.
Exactly. Even you, honestly speaking from the bottom of your heart, when you're saying such lies, how do you feel about yourself? How? Yeah. So you'll just say, yes, I did it, and it was because maybe I was mad, or because maybe so-and-so had done this and this and this, and learn from it. Yeah.
Sounds like we really have an accountability issue.
No, I get it.
It is.
At a personal level, I don't know. Maybe it's an upbringing thing, because you know, there's a video I was watching and someone was saying, even in interviews, nowadays they don't focus so much on asking, sometimes we write everything that's nice.
Yes.
We launched this,
Yes.
we did this, we did that. And sometimes when in an environment when everyone has launched something and everyone has done something, you now want to learn from, you want to pick the one who failed but learned something from it.
Exactly.
So even in interview environments, I personally like to know what, what are those things that didn't go very well, because we all have had
Exactly.
those moments.
Yes.
And then what did you learn from it, and what did you do about it?
Yes.
Because you don't want to, would you like a soldier who has no scars, or
Exactly.
or would you prefer
someone? And that is exact one thing that we were discussing with a friend of mine today morning, yeah? And you were like, we have this notion on social media, you shouldn't say bad things. You see, like something like what I wrote, someone will be like, don't you think it's going to affect your future employer? As in, they'll want to know what exactly happened. Yes, if it was ever to be brought up by my future employer and they want to know what exactly happened, I will tell them the truth. But what did I do about it?
Yes.
What did I learn from it?
We can't control situations, but we
can't
control what
we are
do
all
after.
human beings, yeah? And that is also one thing that I tend to fault HR people. Like, yes, I went and said on social media, Ruto has done ABCD, and then now when I go for an interview and you're like, you wrote something about so and so, why did you? And then now that makes it a reason as to why you're not going to hire me, because I gave my own personal opinions. So what is that make? You are gagging people. So you do not want people to say their opinion on social media, because you as a hiring person, you're going to pick those things. But they're talking from a personal level. Yeah? I will not say about ABCD because I'm so scared. People will judge me. Oh, how about, because I know people always go pale on social media, especially Twitter, when people are just ranting. And they're like, your future employer is on social media. They're reading whatever they're talking about. But that is you. So you're not writing from, if I'm working for, like, let's say, I say a certain corporate X, I'm not talking from their point of view.
And your views are not theirs.
It's not theirs. Yeah. It's my personal views. So even if you're going to use that to gag me, at the end of the day, that is what I feel and think about it. So those are some of the things I look at and I'm like, we try to encourage this kind of things, like people shouldn't say what is happening in their lives and all that. And I'll tell you, for example, if I had not written what I wrote in December, because you see now we have launches after launches, and then I'm writing, today we unveiled this. And the guys are like, my God, this girl is prospering. But they do not know behind the scenes, there's drama. There's drama, like for me to launch this product you're seeing everywhere on billboards and on TVC and everything, there's a lot that happens behind the scene. Yeah? So it's high time we all just said yes. And I think that is where we have these issues of people going the mental health
issues, yeah.
Because I'm suffering, but I do not want to say
it's all inside.
Exactly. I'm being physically beaten at home or emotionally beaten at home. Nitaamuka asubuhi nipake lipstick and I come to the office, I'm so happy. The next time you hear, my God, Nakhulo committed suicide. She left her note. And they're like, this chick, the way she was so bubbly in the office, she did whatever, nini. It's because we are always gagging people.
Do you think we personalize events? Like, when we say something was successful, we want to associate with us being that identity of successful.
Exactly.
And equivalently,
yes,
if something fails, we then tend to be...
We do not want to.
We want to personalize ourselves. Yeah, we want to separate. But, it doesn't work. You can't choose one and leave the other.
Exactly.
And as a result, it calls for us to find our identity outside of whether they are successes or their...
Exactly, failures. Yeah.
So, yeah, do you think it came from... Where do you think that came from? Is it, I somehow think it's upbringing.
Again, you're saying upbringing, culture. I don't know if you, I'm a millennial. I don't know about you guys. Are you Gen Zs or stuff? Millennials. When you look at, when you have a discussion with your parents still feel and think you are kids. When you try to call out your parent, they're like, this kid... He has the audacity of calling me out. How is that even possible?
They can't even say sorry.
They can't even say sorry. And yet you can see with their eyes, as in... Umekosea. So you see, we've been brought up, especially millennials, and that's why we have a problem with Gen Zs. They'll say it as is. Now, as millennials, umekosewa, but now you're going to just, it's like, it's okay. Now, when you you remember back in the day when you were young and you'll go and say, hey, so-and-so amenichapa. Then you go back to school with your parent and then it's turned against you. And you're like, you're the one who was the fault and they beat you. And then they forget this other person who caused mayhem. Like, really?
Nakama you are punished today, it doesn't mean that you are a terrible kid.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
but you see now our parents show us like, yes, as much as this person coseared you, no, just let it slide. Let's just slide and you move. So I think it's just the upbringing, and that's why now we are having an issue with Gen Zs. Because they'll tell you in black and white, this is not happening and it's not happening. And that's why even I was telling guys, now the corporate world, the millennials are the ones now who are taking up senior leadership positions. The Gen X and the Gen Y, they've already started getting out. So we are now having a problem. We are trying to manage the Gen Zs the way Gen X and Gen X or Y?
Yeah, yes.
Gen X managed us. And it's like, if someone said you wronged them, apologize, and then we move. But now as millennials, now we are struggling to manage the Gen Zs because they're like, no, she beat me. Let her tell me why she beat me. But you're like, no, yes, she beat you. Has she apologized? Yes, we move.
So I think we were raised with that culture of failure is not an option.
Exactly.
But we're here saying failure is an option.
Yes, failure is not happening. That's why we'll be told, why did you fail in maths? Why did you fail in chemistry? And you're like, God, me, I'm not a sciences person. Why are you forcing me?
and then is it student? This is a silly question.
Yeah.
But sometimes like the way we are graded in schools, like you're told these schools do well, these schools do well. Is it students or teachers that fail? It's a conversation for another day.
It's a conversation for another day, but also it has contributed to where we are now when it comes to this discussion we are having. Because you'll be like, you see this, I went to Alliance. You see? When someone comes up and they're like, I went to Alliance. Those of us who maybe went to district school or Harambee schools, do you see them talking about them going to district school or Harambee schools on social media?
Yeah.
Who do you hear saying they went to? I went to Alliance, Lenana, Nairobi School, and all those things. But now when you look around and you're like, okay, yes, a few of you went to those national schools, yeah? But where did these guys who went to Harambee School or district school go to? They are with you. They are with you in that same office. You who went to Alliance.
The graph somehow.
Exactly.
meets.
Me who went to a Harambee school, yes, I got a C+ because I had no option because of where I studied. You had all the resources and everything. You got an A. But Sasa, we've partnered in an office environment. Who is smarter now? So also that has also contributed to that, whereby now anyone who went to Alliance, they
Supposed
have
to
their
be.
voices heard. But those of us who went to Harambee School Uko in the village, where you are others. So,
Jimmy, I think I have an answer for you. It's not the students. The answer is that it is not the students
That
Yes.
fail.
that fail.
yes.
So-called fail.
We might want to blame the teachers, but I still think it's another higher level. It's the system itself.
Yeah.
And the example we can give is Finland. So Finland is said to have, at least in Europe, like the best education system that right now for a couple of years. And how their system is set up is they don't look at students as groups. Now, us, we are being looked at as groups. Like you're an A student, you're a C student. They look at them as individuals. So even if you are failing at, let's say, the sciences, how that school is set up is that they will notice that you are failing at sciences. And then they'll start to push you towards the things that you're succeeding at. And that's how their system is set up. So I don't know who's failing here, but I know it's not
It's
the
the whole
students.
concept of it. But yes, I get what you're saying.
It is. And just on the same breath, yeah? Like I'll say, how did I get into marketing? I think I got into marketing when, you remember back in high school, you'll pick, which, was it high school or was
Sciences
it?
Which I find
it
very
was in high
unfair.
Yes, you picked and stuff like that. Okay, me, I was very, very good when it comes to, I picked home science because that is where my key strengths were. And I was like, you know, that's when you're asked, when you grow up, or do you want to be someone who'll be like air hostess, a pilot, and all those things. Sindio? But me, I used to look around and I'm like, I would like to do maybe hotel management, become a hotelier and stuff like that. And then now it got to a point, I got a C+. Then I cleared high school a year after my dad died, yeah? So now my mom, we are like 6 of us. So my mom, and I'm the second born. So our firstborn had just cleared campus. So she was at Daystar. So she had done communication.
Okay.
Remember Daystar, school fees for Daystar is something else.
Yeah.
So me, I used to look up to my sister. I'm like, I want to go to Daystar like my sister. So now when my results came out, I got a C+, and I'm like, so I started pushing my mom, I want to go to there. But she couldn't afford. So she tried looking for Kenya Utalii College. She couldn't get, because also back then corruption. KMC, nothing. So KCCT was setting up a comms class, yeah? So I ended up there. And then I was like, am I sure what I want to do? Because communication wasn't what I really, really wanted to do, because I really wanted to go to Utalii. But now I found myself in communication. And then I was like, let me do PR, yeah? So that's what I did. But can you imagine? And then I did PR now by default, and now I got to marketing and all that. But now I have passion for fashion. Yeah? So can you imagine, since when I was in high school, I loved home science, where we will do the stitching and all those things. If they had observed that and seen, this chick loves this kind of things, so let's take her through that path. So that once she clears high school, she wants to do fashion. Get me a fashion school. But in this Nairobi, as in you're like, where are the fashion schools? Everyone out here is called a tailor.
And even what is fashion?
What is fashion? Me, even there's a time when now I started, because I do those as part of things that I do as passion. And my mom is like, tailoring. You see now?
Fundi.
Yeah, fundi wa manguo. So you see, so there's that misconception of fundi wa manguo. Right now, engineers, they're into building, the architects and all those things. Hawa ni mafundi wa mbao na fundi wa nini? Wa mjengo. But do you want to be called fundi wa mjengo? You don't want to be called fundi wa mjengo. And you know, those are some of the things back in the day, they used to be polytechnics. You remember polytechnics?
Yeah.
Where you want to be heard, your friends went to UON, or where, meanwhile, wewe ulipelekwa polytechnic kushona nguo ama kukua mason. You do not want to be associated with that. So again, as he said, it's just the system. Like anyone who went to a polytechnic, those are failures, which is not the case. So if someone would have worked with me in that thingy, like when I picked home science and I'm like, I want to get into fashion, and then they're like, maybe we can sponsor you to go to maybe Italy, you know, those places where now fashion is really, really the in thing. I would have come back here and be something else. But sasa, wale, hapana, wewe huwezi kuwa fundi wa nguo, wewe enda hii direction. So it has really, really brought in all this madness that we have, the system has. Yeah.
I hear you. There's maybe we get a little bit on your personal side now. There is a time you cycled, I think 350 kilometers from here to Moshi. First of all, why?
Who was chasing you?
Why are you running? Why are you cycling?
Oh my
You need to explain to someone.
Yeah. And then, but anyway, on a serious note, so is it? I mean, what does that do for you from a resilience point?
Now, you guys have been in agency, you know how the pressure is.
Yes.
Like
yes.
there you've just said it's a pressure cooker. Then again, marketing also is a pressure cooker. Like
Yes.
right now, someone will just call me and they're like, the MD was in Luthuli and there was no branding. And they're like, what do you mean? Now I have to go to Luthuli and check. Yeah, or there's an activation that happened where, and they're, you know, as in like all those things. Yeah. So when I moved on, I got into outdoor space by default. I don't know if I need to share this.
Go ahead.
So that was in 2016. Yeah, I had already moved on. No, 2012.
Okay.
I started getting into the outdoor space in 2011, 2010. Back then, I was handling Guinness as a brand. And Guinness as a brand, activations, like saizi, ningekuwa sijui which kijiji, we are busy, mara siyo football challenge,
kwanza, yes.
mara si nini. So, as in, technically from Thursday to Monday now used to be now my work has started. And then it hasn't started. Monday to Thursday is report writing and planning about the next move. So it was like
Always on.
always on, always on. Today, you're on the next plane to Mombasa, next plane to Busia, next plane to Kakamega. So it was just crazy. And then you're like, now then I was still in my 20s and I was like, my God, this is not the kind of life I want. Yeah. And then now, given that I was handling alcoholic brand, I'm a teetotaler. So yes, I'll be there.
Wewe ni wa chai tu.
Ni chai na nini soda, blah, 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 blah. So I'll be there doing all these night things, akina Johnny Walker, akina Bacardi and all those things. But I'm like, yes, as much as I love events and all those things, but it's not giving me what I want. So I told myself, let me now get into the outdoor space so that if I have a slight window of a weekend, I don't want to sit in the house.
Watching series.
Exactly, because now you see it. If you've ever noticed, if you sit in the house, I know there are people who say they're homebodies, but when you look closely, these guys, they are going through something. Homebody is just an excuse. Yes, it's true.
That is personal.
No, it's true. Yes, okay, I can say also I'm a homebody, but inafikanga mahali, my energy levels, I just need to sit back, yeah? But being a homebody every other weekend and stuff, apana.
Kuna dera kama saba.
Kuna ka something, yeah? So I was like, I really need to get out and see what other people are doing. I spend all my weekends in bars. Not that I'm having fun, but I'm working.
It's work, yeah.
I'm working. So that's how I got into hiking. I wasn't a runner. I wasn't doing anything. Yes, I will cycle because growing up, I come from a village where cycling, everyone, wa mama, wa toto, everyone cycles.
Nakhulo.
Yes, everyone cycles. That's why when I come here in Nairobi and a man stops me asking me stupid questions about cycling, and I'm like, dude, you need to travel a little bit. This is so common.
Exposure.
Yeah, this is so common in our village. Nobody will stop me looking, wondering what am I doing on a bike. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. So now cycled, then it got to 2016. So I was a hiker all until 2016.
Okay.
And then I was heartbroken. And then I didn't have things to do. Then I was like, let me now get into running.
This is heartbreak
Everyone-
happens at
everyone
what
starts
point?
running that
There's
way.
always that point.
Yes.
If I was on that seat, I'd have
Yes.
my story.
Yes.
So I was like, hey, but hey, your energy, watch I try get into running. So now I was a hiker and then I started running.
Fanya,
And
roho ifanye ile kazi yake.
yes. So I started running. So,
Focus, yeah.
yes, I officially started running in 2016.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I was like, I think that's why I'm a marketer. I hate routine. Like,
Yeah.
running
I know
every
what-
day.
I know exactly
No.
what you mean.
I have to do something else. So I will mix running and hiking. Then I was like, bike. I know how to cycle. Let's say I go to Karura, borrow those rickety bikes huko Karura. No, I want something else. Yeah. So I'll do on, off. And then now COVID happened. And then we were a group of people and we're like,
What are we doing?
what are we doing?
Na kuna curfew. Sasa hata the usiku you are
Exactly,
doing.
yes.
It's not happening.
It's not happening. So let's start cycling. And that's how we started. Next, we are a group of runners because we are a group of outdoor people. Then we are like, but we've been going to Moshi to do this Kilimanjaro marathon. How about next year to cycle? And we tortured ourselves. We were like, but you know the way you
Torture here is a part.
yeah, you second guess yourself. You're like, hey, you guys, are you sure? Are you sure you can do this? And they're like, but why not? Then we started, just like jokes. And we did it. So we've been doing it on every year, and I'm happy that now there are so many cyclists who are
coming up.
going. And now this year, which is next week, we are covering like mad distance because we are doing like a 3-day, and like the way we usually do 2 days. So it has really helped us. Like it helps us manage in terms of the free time that we have. Yes, that days you just want to sit in. I'm not saying homebody is bad, but especially as a marketer,
Yeah.
I tell people I'm an ambivert. I'm introverted, extroverted.
Yeah, I
It
get it.
depends. My energy levels depend, yeah. But whenever I'm doing this, my brain is always on overdrive.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at it and I'm like, yes, we can do this. Yes, we can do. And then I associate it with maybe the brands I'm handling and stuff like that. So you see now I'm in an outdoor space. I'm like, wow, I have watches and birds and stuff like that. These are the people I can sell to this product. These are people who love traveling. What do they need? They need a phone. So these are the guys, when I'm busy doing all these things, I'm also looking for opportunity for whatever I do as a marketer, because that is what I do. So how do I position my brand? So like right now, I can easily tell you, if anyone told me, Nakhulo, we have this product that we need to sell to the recreational community. I already know
You already have
who to talk to,
yeah.
how to position it, and stuff, because I'm out there. So as a marketer also, you also need to be open-minded.
Yeah.
Like,
You learn from the environment as well.
exactly. So it really helps me to get to see where can I tap in. But it's also another part where I forget about work. I'm just focused. I need to cover 200 kilometers within these hours. That is where my focus is. I don't want to hear, there was a TVC that was supposed to run. That will
You
deal
have to
with
deal now.
after 200 kilometers. Yeah.
Is there, do you cycle? Have you ever,
I'm not a fan of cycling.
other than as a child, what is the longest distance you have ever cycled? But you
I have
run.
not. Yeah, I prefer running.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And the longest is just 21 km.
21.
Yes.
Okay. That's a good thing.
Yes.
It is. It's a good thing.
Is there a campaign that has ever flopped that you're okay talking about? Or and to a marketer who's a budding marketer, what would you tell
Now,
them?
it's not in my where I am currently, but when I just joined the agency. That's something that I always tell people. So, it was Unilever. They were launching Who is the Fairest of Them All? Fair and Lovely.
They're lovely.
Excitement, we came up with a very big idea. You know those 360 big ideas, how are we going to roll and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then now we were launching it. So our perfect launch place was Prestige. There's a cinema there.
Yeah.
So it was about watching a movie. I think they had a commercial or something that was a movie kind of. And then we were like, now during unveil, now we'll have a huge mirror coming from the roof.
Oh, okay.
So that now people, you see now, so you're seated after the nini, now unveil, now you're looking at yourself and you're saying, who is the fairest?
So at the cinema,
yes.
the thing drops, and then people are now seeing themselves.
Yes, now after now they watching, now it's the big moment.
Yeah.
Now it comes from pale
Na sasa hiyo
juu.
umewasha stima ama bado?
Bado, wait for it.
Okay.
So they watch, and I were like, okay, now unveil time. Then the guys who are managing it went behind the scenes, started
Shukisha
coming
in
down.
the nini.
Next thing, down in pieces.
It came down for.
The whole mirror.
Yes.
It decided nobody was the fairest of them.
Where? And guess who was around in that head of commercial Africa market? I don't know from where. She had specifically traveled for this launch event.
Which has literally broken into pieces.
Maybe the people who are in brief coil reacted.
So the only thing that I say is we thank God back then, Facebook was not even...
Haikuwa nini, yeah.
Twitter wasn't neither here nor there. I think that's when there was this Mashada and these other things that people were not really talking.
clear about, yeah.
Because if it was now, it would have been a crisis. The following day, I still remember, every time I go to industrial area, I look at that Unilever HQ. I'm like, this is where we were summoned. That lady called for an immediate meeting, came. Imagine brand managers are panicking. Now someone like me who is panicking. And that is also one thing I appreciate with where I am currently. I'm left to deal with whatever is going on as long as I don't fuck up. Yeah? Like, if I fuck up, take the ownership that you fucked up.
In the same way that if it succeeds.
Exactly, in the same way. That's one thing I really appreciate with where I am currently. Yeah? Called the brand managers, the marketing managers, they're in panic. Like, and in my head, I'm like, why are you panicking? It's not your fault. And also, we are human beings. Like, and that's why I always say, yes, as marketing in-house, I have agencies, I have consultants that we work with. And they sometimes come to me and tell me, even last minute, this is not going to happen.
Yeah.
But you see, given that I've ever been in their shoe, if it's not going to happen, then tell me what is option B. I'll only have a problem if you're telling me this is not happening and you're not giving me a solution.
Yeah.
Like, let's sit down
escalate
and find
solutions.
Exactly. Let's sit down and find a solution.
Yep.
Yeah. Following day, mad, everyone, they're just like, she was just like, you know what? It happened yesterday. How much had they been? LPO was issued, blah, 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 because it was immediately after that, it was now activations in campuses and stuff like that. That's how our contract was cancelled, and that story died. So then I was, AE, AE, that pressure, I could...
The other people to buffer it.
To buffer it up. But it was such a key learning for me. Like, you know what? You can plan things. And those are some of the things that I always put at the back of my mind whenever I'm planning things. I'm like, anything can happen anytime. As in, you can... Exactly. You can have everything planned. Work plans, critical parts, all those things, everything. But at some point, things will not just go the way they're supposed to go.
Yep.
And sit back and analyze and say, yes, it didn't go the way it was supposed to go. So what are some of the things that you learn going forward? Yeah. So that was such a key learning. And I was like, up to today, I always tell guys, wow, that one was bad.
Yeah.
It was so bad. Now, I don't know, because you see now I'm at an entry level. I don't know now the account directors and managers, because, they were there. So how was it for them? Because you see, definitely, we did not know what happened after the contract got cancelled. Because you see now that is revenue for the. But what I always say is, if I was their boss or their CEO, I would have looked at it and it's like, you planned until the end. Even they could see the mirror. You did the rehearsal and
It was
everything.
coming. I don't even know where you got that size of a mirror also.
Yes, you see.
But that's a good effort.
So you see,
Effort.
it was just meant not to happen. And that's what happened. So...
But I think on the bright side, maybe there was a DJ in the room, and that's why they got that drop that they keep dropping mirrors in their sets.
Kama ile Stone Cold.
So that is one thing that I always use it as a case study of just things not going.
Is it a thing that you think? Would you say that adapting is a thing that we all need to learn, especially if you're in marketing, obviously?
If you're in marketing, I think what one needs to do is always be ready. Anything can happen. Like, DJ atakuja na music ikatai tu kucheza.
It reminds me of a time, those high school plays? So you're on, those ones, you're on the stage.
Yes.
So I love the guy who was supposed to come next. So you're supposed to cue each other.
Yes.
Tulikuwa tunamuona huko kwa crowd akikatia to dem.
He's supposed to be on the stage.
And he's supposed to be on stage.
On stage.
Of course, you have to figure out how to adapt the
How
script
to
at that
adapt.
moment.
Yeah.
And you start, and then there was a guy who was supposed to die.
Yes.
Sasa ameshaanguka.
And
Na
then
mnaangaliana.
what
And you have
happened
to start
next?
bending down. Like, oh no.
Yes.
Kichini umwambia, bado hajaingia.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, so
but
those
that's
are
a
some
good
of
thing.
the things, like as a marketer, anything can happen, yeah? And like you can decide, maybe I want my TVC to run within this period. And then AU happens. Right now, AU is happening. And maybe I was supposed to have a live event.
It won't get viewership. Yeah.
It won't get viewership. And you see, that's beyond your control. And also, sometimes I always say, if one day I ever get to a senior management level or top level, those are some of the things you analyze case by case.
Yeah.
Yes, there are some cases that is just carelessness. Like,
Yeah.
this person just did not care.
Yeah, they didn't
like
plan.
at all. But some of these things, look into it and find out, enyewe, this person really, really tried, but it just did not go as per the plans.
Is there a misconception you think people have about marketing?
Yeah, people just think it's all about glamour.
You think people see people they think it's the events? Or
Yes, they think it's the events, the
output.
dressing up, and all those things.
Yeah.
As in, like, marketing people, and that is something that I used to pick when I was at agency, especially from creatives. I don't know if you guys are creative or whatever. Who are you?
No, you can bash them.
Yes, especially the creatives, because they will think that the ones who are doing the work, because they're the ones who are coming up with the ideas and stuff like that. But it's not. That's not what happens. Like now, from where I'm seated currently, yes, I have the agency that does the coming up and stuff like that, but you need to give them a direction because you are the brand owner.
Yeah.
The agents are coming in as a consultant. They're outsiders. So you guide them and tell them, this is what I want. I want this building to take a V shape. So let them now tell you, for this building to take a V shape, this is what. But do not say, I want a building. And then, so which one? An oval, a circle, what kind of a building? You need to own the brand so that now when the people you are working with are able to do whatever, as in they offer guidance. But people always assume marketers are just... And then now there's another thing, the finances aspect of it. There's the balancing of books. Like, yes, I want to do an event, I want to do PTL, I want to do ABCD. But now how do you balance based on the cash that you have? So there's a lot of...
And the impact.
Because you see ROI also comes to play. Marketers are always asked, what is the ROI?
Yeah, what are we getting out of this?
Unataka niweke mtu wa Valentine's pale Hilton. What will be the ROI? Definitely will be asked. So you need to...
And I find it strange because there are certain ROIs that I find...
count.
Yeah, there are certain ROIs that sometimes I feel cannot be visualized that easily. I mean, there's a conversation by someone called Rory Sutherland. And he says, rational thinkers, which is all of these spreadsheet-driven careers, finance, all of those, they always want to be justified for activities that are being done by creative thinkers. And marketing is one of those sections. But whenever rational people are doing things, they never come to present to creative people to ask. So if I'm building a road,
justify.
nobody is going to come and say, oh, let me put a bunch of creative people and let's present this thing.
Yes.
And maybe they'll come up with a different idea of how we can do it. But it's always the other way around. When we are thinking of creative thoughts and whatnot, we always have to come back to present to rational people.
Yes.
And then those rational people have to tell us whether it is working or not working, but from a very rational perspective. Yeah, so I find sometimes the whole concept of what marketing is very misunderstood.
It's misunderstood even from a corporate point of view, especially the hiring guys.
Yeah.
You are hiring me as a marketing manager, and that's something that I always put as a disclaimer. I'm not a salesperson.
Oh, it came from this world of sales and marketing.
Exactly. And every time I see someone putting a job, I'm looking for a marketing and salesperson, and I'm like,
these are not the
guys,
same people.
Totally different people.
Yeah.
Yes, I know I need to help to ensure
The outcome.
there's revenue.
Yes.
But I'm a supporting person to the salesperson. I'm not a salesperson, but I offer support to the salesperson. And I always use this as an example every time someone struggles with what exactly I do, especially because you see, the way you've just said, someone in finance will be like, what exactly do you do? Because even people will be like, even the salespeople will be like, these ones are just for spending money. Yeah. But guys do not get it. And I usually use a simple explanation. It's like food. You have visitors are coming to your house, ndio? Naniambia Nakhulo, niko na wageni wanakuja Saturday, blah, 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 blah. I will ask you, what will they like to eat? Do we have Muslims? Do we have nini? So that now I know the kind of food I
Gathering
need to.
data.
Exactly. Ndio, you will tell me. Then I'll be like, these are Muslims. The pork shouldn't even feature in that food. So now, Mimi, I'm now the strategy plus product person. Now I'll go look for nyama, sijui nini, and ensure ile nyama yenye naleta imechinjwa na Muislamu.
Yeah,
you know
halal.
all those things, yeah? Imeleta, ziko hapo kwa jikoni. Now it's time for cooking. You see? So now time for cooking ni product team wanakuja wanasema now strategist ni yule ameuliza maswali who are these visitors and all that ameleta. Then now it's time to cook this.
Very nice analogy.
Now product person anakuja anasema hii chakula tutaweka roiko, tutaweka nini si ndio? Wapike. Wakishamaliza sasa marketing, hii food
itasaviwa
tutaweka aje pale kwa meza. Sasa now that's where I come in as marketing. Nitasema ni Waislamu wanatoka wapi? Somali, wapi, tutawatandikia mkeka, we will biryani, this is how it will be served, blah 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 blah. It's the presentation. So I'm giving them the food as a marketer, si ndio? Waeke tuwatandikie hapo hivyo. Then sales people come. So kazi yao ni kumake sure our wageni wamekula, and you keep on asking, you know, because as in they need to ensure we keep on serving them because they love that food.
Na kuna MC wa kushinda akiambia watu na unaweza ongeza sahani nyingine.
Exactly. So wanawambia nini. So that when they come back, the day they'll come back, definitely they loved that journey. So huyo mtu wa sales, hiyo ndio kazi yake kumake sure hiyo chakula yenye tumepika huko kwa jikoni yenye imejaa huko kwa jikoni iishe. Ishinde ikikuja kwa hiyo meza, wamalize hiyo food.
Yeah.
So wasipomalize hiyo chakula kwa hiyo jikoni, ni nani utablame? You see, now that is where people do not get it.
Yeah.
So watu wa
They
sales,
just see the outcome.
Exactly. Watu wa sales watasema, maybe hiyo chakula ikuwa na chumvi, maybe nini. You know, all those things. That's why they did not finish the food. But ule mtu mwenye sasa tunaanzia from huko juu. Whoever briefed us, you see, now say if it was Muslims and then we bring in a pork. And you're like, but we were not aware.
You're off brief.
Exactly. We are off brief. So where did it start? And then where did it end? Yeah. So that is a simple explanation I usually give people, and they look at it and they're like, by the way, makes sense. Yeah, it's simple.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
But I have a question based on that analogy. So as a marketer, the traditional thing is the 4 Ps, where product is part of it. So what is the role of the marketer when it comes to view that food is being cooked?
To the food that is being cooked. So you see, yes, as much as product are lifting the weight in the kitchen, even me as a marketer, ulisema umeka roiko, like maybe ongeza aka, but you see, it's giving, like, I'm trying to make sure, like, you see, I'll give an example like rice. Kuna kuanga na plain rice, kuna kuanga na
mchelenjeri,
pilau njeri, you know, all those things. So nitaona mtu wa product ameleta hizi all these things and they're cooking, then tasema maybe hii rice hebu tengeneza ingine kando ya mtu kama huyu, ama nitamwambia hii nyama najua kuna mtu mwingine akulangi mafuta, tumwekee tu boiled. You see? Okay. So you see, I'm not interfering with their work, but now from where I'm seated as a marketer and how I'm going to position that so that the moment I put it on the table, we already know vegetarian, non-vegetarian, you see. So I've even marked and said, this is for vegetarian, this is for a non-vegetarian, and all those things. So that's why product and marketing work very closely. Sababu you'll see now product and marketing will be very involved in the food that is being brought, but not marketing will be just support role. Food that is being brought, how it's being cooked, and then now product now leave it to us. But also, it's not that they leave it to us 100%. Also, they will guide us and tell us, Nakhulo, hii bakuli, hii usiweke, kuna mtu hapendi bakuli ya brown. Toa hiyo bakuli ya brown, tumia hii ya white. You see? So they also guide you. Yep. Then now, so that now sales take it up. And then ensure, hii chakula watu lazima wamalize. Wasipomaliza, then kulikuwa na ka problem. So now, kama kulikuwa na ka problem mahali, so where did this problem start? But do you know what usually happens? Ni ule chef mwenye alikuwa pale kwa jikoni na ile team yenye ilikuwa ina serve. So chef mwenye alikuwa kwa jikoni na team yenye ilikuwa ina serve, it's two, they are like this. So inakuwa, that is where the blame game starts. They forget about the person who gave the brief from pale juu, and then the people who are ensuring that food should be eaten. Sababu unaona sasa wenye wako pale wakiambia watu nini, mtu anafaa kujuko kwa jikoni aseme Nakhulo, hiyo chakula ina chumvi, ebu leta chumvi. That's why now you'll see there's usually now there's the launch phase, then there's the sustenance phase. Yeah. So you are bringing in and you're like, hatujapenda venye mmeserve hiki, ebu letea, kuna mgeni pale amesema hapendi hii, kuna nini ingine huko kwa jikoni, bring. So you see now that sustenance level, that is where now if sales are not pushing this product, there's a problem. So you need to tell us so that we manage that problem from wapi uko behind the scenes.
Yeah, I love that.
Is it making sense?
You know, a lot of times when you're trying to speak of a subject, you have to, I mean, you've done a good job at breaking it down.
Yeah.
Because we do tend, a lot of times we do tend to speak jargon.
Yes.
And sometimes people
do not
don't
understand.
And I'm also a huge believer that marketing is not something that comes as a consequence of like planning. It's not the olden days where you go and make soap and then you come and say, hi, we have this soap, now go sell it. Nowadays, it is involved in product development. Marketing thinking is involved in even business strategy, marketing thinking is involved in so many other elements,
Yeah.
and people have to start. If you were to give a TED Talk today without much preparation, would that be the TED Talk?
Yes, that will be my. I always say, I think as much as I got into comms, and because when I joined the agency, I was in PR. Then now I looked around again. As I said, I hate just doing same thing over and over, and I felt like PR was really boring. And now, since I was in a 360 agency, I was so curious to know what are the creative guys doing, what are the client service people doing, and stuff like that. And then I set my mind, and I was like, if I was ever to get into corporate world, I'm getting in as a marketer, because there's so much that you can do. So marketing has always been me. As an event, I always tell my friends, and they're like, every time I open my mouth, I'm just talking about things, and they're like, wow, how did you even think about it? And I'm like, you know what? Even you, if I was to I will package you and position you in the market. And it's because there's always something going on, and I feel like it's just the in thing, and I'm always passionate about it. Even when I hear people say, I don't love my job, it's not about not loving your job. And it's something that I always say, if I was to mentor these young upcoming people, do not get into doing a career because you just want to do it. You need money. Are you passionate about it? You have to be passionate about something for you to be able to do it. Because I'm in a space where marketing is me. As in, like, I wake up, sleep, everything marketing. Because that is something that is in me. So if someone was to tell me to get into finance, I'll be like, my God, what is even that? Or even procurement. Like, I will be thrown off. But if I was to be removed from tech industry to get into an FMCG or comms as a marketer, I think I'll thrive. And I think now those are some of the things that just keeps me going. Because I feel like marketing, you have to always be on top of things. Bulb, tutaiposition aje kwa market. Ni bulb too, but how do I position it?
Yeah. And you know, when you said position, people sometimes don't understand what we mean.
Yes.
But, and this is as we get to a close, but the big ideas always require marketing thinking. And when I say big ideas, I'm not talking about the fact that you're selling this microphone or you're selling this phone. Sometimes it's you're trying to make people do their taxes. Sometimes it's you're trying
complex challenges.
Yeah. Sometimes there are complex challenges, and you're trying to adopt electric cars. You're the selling. You're trying to make people join a movement. It's in the little things that we forget that marketing is used in every single environment.
Everywhere.
Even when you're trying
Even
to get
yourself.
married.
Even when you're posting
Even
on
when you're
Instagram.
trying to post. Yes. I mean,
it's marketing.
It is everything that you
do. Yes.
And
yes.
we tend to make it an action or an activity and call it an event. But it actually is a way of thinking.
Exactly.
It's not an activity, it is a philosophy.
Yes.
And
And I think that's why most people always think when, I don't know if you've ever experienced that, when a new MD or a new top guy comes in and they look around and they're like, I don't need marketing. Salespeople will do it for me. And you're like...
In fact, to put it differently, whenever there is tough times, people...
Yes, marketing
That's where you
and
start.
comms
people cut it down because it's an expense.
It's an expense, and they're like, there's nothing you're doing here. The people that I really, really need more is the sales team. But now our sales team going to sell the product if the product hasn't been positioned in the market.
And even when if marketing is involved in creation of the product, you can't therefore really say that the product exists by itself.
Exactly.
The product is an outcome of a lot of components.
A lot.
There is the ability to make it or build it if it's physical.
Exactly.
But there is the thinking, back to your kitchen analogy,
Yes.
that is required to understand who is it being built for,
Who is it
what
being
is it, what is it here to solve, and so on and so forth. So it's a beautiful conversation, that I think sometimes people completely misunderstand.
It is. Like, I'll give an example when you've just said that about, was it Air Asia? You remember when they did that? What was it? What did they say? What did they call Africans? You remember?
No,
I don't
remind us.
remember that one.
What was it? It became an outcry on Twitter. They called something. They called African something when they were launching in the market. And you see, that is one bit they missed. Like, they came up with a concept uko wherever they were. They did not understand. They did not do
Local
even,
nuances.
exactly, like find who can we work with and stuff like that. And then it just, they used some racist words. I can't remember. It was something to do with, was it Air Asia? I think it was Air Asia. And then they did, I think, was it a billboard or a digital comms? And guys were like, you guys are racists. And I think they even recalled it or something like that. So again, as you've said, getting the right people. Yes, you'll know marketing and all those things, but you need the right people to be in the right place, as in to give you the right information that you need to position the brand. Like now, right now, I'm in a space where whenever we are launching this product, it's not that it's meant for this market. It's a global product, yeah? But you see, they have to brief us so that now we localize it. Yeah, so that now the people in this particular market can embrace it. It can't just come like, yes, it's been launched globally, now you're seeing it in this market and you're like, okay, what's going on? The TVCs are just, or everything is just foreign, yeah? And maybe even use their language to communicate. You just think TVCs running in that particular language and you're like, okay, what's going on? So they must have local people to ensure that it's embraced locally.
Do you think when people say localizing, sometimes this is a dangerous question because I feel like sometimes when people say localizing, they mean dumbing it down, which I've always battled with because it's almost like, you need to, especially there are certain words we use. We say, we need it to work for mass market. So it has to be
mass market.
It has to be. I think people misunderstand localization and replace it in their minds with averaging it.
I don't. For consumers, I don't think it's something that affects them because you see now these are internal words we use. So I highly doubt people. It's neither here nor there.
Okay.
It's just like saying niche market. And if it's niche, it's niche. Okay. Like say, what's it called? This hotel that is here along Wayaki Way, that nowadays I think it's even been run down.
Which one?
Kempinski.
Okay.
You see, Kempinski came at a level where you're like, me even as an individual, I'll be like, I don't think I can afford a Kempinski. Let me just go to my kawaida hotels that I go to. So I don't think it's something that really, it's a big deal to consumers.
Okay.
So it shouldn't be something that we shouldn't be talking about because it's just jargon that we use internally to see how do we position our product. Like if I say this is for mass market, like example, Kipande, sabuni ya Kipande, that is mass market. I don't think it will be a big deal. As opposed to Tuseme, it's called, kuna Omo, Sunlight, and Parcel. When I look
kuna
at,
mingi,
but when I look at those three, as a consumer, or maybe it's because I'm biased, I'm a marketer.
You're a marketer.
I'll see Parcel as Zuko, you know. I wouldn't even want to look at it in the ninis. I'll go to Uku, penye najua ni kawaida mwananchi. So I don't know. Maybe I need to ask around.
There are some peculiarities there.
Yeah, maybe I need to ask around. Maybe as a marketer, I already have that in my mind. So it's not a big deal. So I should ask my friends, especially those in engineering and IT.
The other flip side.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think this has been very interesting. I think because we're also in the same general field.
Yeah.
We can talk and talk and talk.
Hey, this is a conversation that there's so much that I can unpack when it comes to marketing.
Yeah, so I think we'll go to our quickfire section where we'll just ask you just 10 questions. Whatever comes to mind first is what you tell us. We listen, but we don't judge.
We listen, but we
But we
don't
don't judge.
So coffee or tea?
Tea.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
If your life had a theme song, what would it be?
Can I use
Tufungue
an artist
Spotify.
instead?
Okay.
Yes.
Lady Gaga.
I thought you were going to say that one for making you stronger. Kanye.
Hey, Kanye, no.
No.
I think Lady
No,
Gaga is
Lady Gaga. Anyway, we won't ask why. We said we listen, but we
we don't judge.
We don't judge.
What's your guilty pleasure after a long, stressful day?
My God. Do I have any? Me, I'm just all over.
So we'll say being all over is the
Yeah, maybe, yes,
I
all
think the
over.
guilty pleasure is being is finding mind activity. Like, do you ever rest? Like, do you
focus.
chill?
Do
Or
you know people ask me that if I ever rest? I do.
Okay.
I do. Like, I just take the weekends that I'm a homebody, like, as in, like, nikishaingia kwa hiyo nyumba on Friday, I'll get
Hautoki.
out on Monday. So that's just a way of me. And then, yeah, that's, but once in a while I do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So probably you've answered, but I'll just ask, just in case it's a different answer. What's one thing people always get wrong about you?
One thing people always get wrong about me is I'm very harsh.
Is that what people get wrong about you, or that's who you
Is
are?
that the reality?
It's not the reality.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I think people think is it harsh or what word can I use? I'm like, yeah, as in, generally, people just fear me. It's because I just say things as is. Kama umenibo, umenibo. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm not happy about something, I'm not happy about something. I'm not happy. Because that is something that I always carry around. As in, that is feedback I always get even in the office. Okay, in the office, people think I'm also a snob. Yeah. So I'm harsh and also I'm a snob. Because office environment, people think I'm a snob. And out socially, people think I'm a snob. And also, you too, as in like, they always feel like I'm combative. Let me use the word combative. Because they're like, hey, this girl, apana, that one is not for joking around. Yeah.
Would you say you're a strong
But which is
personality?
not, I have a strong personality. I
I was
always
gonna
tell
ask.
guys, I'm a type A. I have a type A personality, which really rubs people the wrong way. Because type A personality is, if I want something to be done, it has to be done. As in, what excuse do you have? Like, why are you not doing it? And you see, majority of people do not love that kind of anini. So I have that type A personality, which makes people think I'm that kind of a person. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question. Or have you finished yours?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Yes. Which fictional character do you relate to most?
A fictional character. I.
Nasema Snow White.
Oh, man.
what?
Those are the bush. Unajua saa ingine hata abunuasi.
Oh,
No, I don't have a fictional character that I
Okay.
can relate with.
okay.
Uh-huh.
If you could have a superpower to fix one thing in the world, what would it be?
Superpower to fix one thing in the world. Superpower to fix one thing in the world is get rid of death. As in, like, death just does a number on people.
Jinsi tutajazana sana.
Awacha tutujazani.
Okay.
Okay, so if failure wasn't an option, what crazy dream would you chase next?
If failure wasn't an option, crazy dream. Wow. Just to keep going. As in, like, whatever I'm doing to take me to the next. You know, the way you finish this challenge and then next challenge, like that. As in, yeah, in my career path, I would really want to go all the way until up.
So regional.
Your regional,
Continent,
global, yeah,
global.
those things, yeah. But hey, the higher you go,
Pressure increases or decreases?
It increases.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can ask your question.
No, she kind of said something in one of the answers, but I think 2024 was maybe in closing was I think a challenging year for you. Both losses at a personal level, some of the things that you've spoken about. Maybe as you look at this camera, maybe you can tell us one thing, or if you'd like even two, about resilience.
Hey, resilience. I would say at the end of the day, what I just went through in 2024, it's about you as an individual, yeah? always think about yourself and the people that are around you. Because resilience does not just come just as a word. It's you as an individual. So you need to have what's it called? Look inward before you look outward. Yeah. So that now, if you need to keep going, and I'm an optimistic person. Like, something will always
Something positive about
something. Yes, there will always be a sunset, but there'll be a sunrise.
Yeah.
So you need to look at both the sunset and the sunrise. But now, for the sun to rise, it's upon you as an individual. Yeah, where do you want to be when that sun rises? Yeah, so you look at it, you yourself as an individual, and the more you become an adult. There's so much, again, as I've said, it's always career-wise, family-wise, there's so much, even friends. As in, like, it's like you're carrying, is it a mkokoteni? It keeps pulling you. So
Gets
how
heavier.
are you going to make sure that with this mkokoteni, I get to the end of that hill? So you always need to find ways of how to make that mkokoteni get up there. Yeah.
Fantastic.
I don't know if I've answered.
No, I mean, I think it's one of those things where everyone has to translate in reflection of themselves.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think what I get from what you're saying is there's a lot of internal work that people need to do.
Yes.
And a lot of, whether you like it or not, it's something you have to do.
Yes.
And it will catch up with you whether you like it or not.
Or not. Yeah.
And the most you can do is make sure that it's catching up with you in your own terms.
Yes.
And you make sure that, whatever you're dealing with, whether it's, as you said, death, whether it's work, whether it's friendship, all of those things, you stay, as much as possible, try and stay in control. But of course, there has to be something powering you, the spiritual side, hopefully. That's what I get from it. Yep.
Yeah, I've also learned a lot. I think the whole thing around resilience, endurance, and I think it's what you're doing in the career side is also what's being mirrored, let's say, in the outdoor space.
Yeah.
And I think we should say you can't separate the lives of someone.
Yeah.
Person in career is
one.
the person in these other spaces. And the whole thing that we also discussed around HR, people trying to nitpick or edit who you should be and who you should be. I think that was quite impactful. Na pia usichezee watu wanafanya 350 kilometers.
Anyway, thank you so much,
my
man.
God.
I mean, it's been I think there are so many conversations we can have.
So many.
Because I'm interested in even knowing, like, how do you see the future of what you do and how are we evolving? But I guess we don't want to go on and on. And so we'll say thank you for coming, but we can find another time for that conversation.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for showing up. Thank you. I think this has been, especially if you are trying to venture into the world of marketing, which, as we have learned, is everything. There's a lot you can learn. I think you can follow her on her LinkedIn. And of course, follow us even on our handles. So we look forward to the next one.
I think just on a light note, disclaimer to friends of Karura. Her opinions on your rickety bikes were personal opinions. Don't reflect
True,
to
by the
opinions
Karura people, those bikes, they just need to go. You get good bikes. Yeah.
Yes, so if you want to sponsor us, we are still open.
All right. Thank you so much. See you next one.
Thank you. Way.